Hellos! Today I'm going to be doing my video on quick service food and beverage, kind of like an overview of my role, which was outdoor foods in Magic Kingdom. I've not done a video for quite a while, as you can probably tell behind me. It is December now, so I'm putting my little Christmas tree up. Got my little Olaf chilling over here. The acceptances of the new ICPs has kind of inspired me to do this video, as on my blog as well, my ODF kind of blog post that I did outlining the training and stuff has got quite a lot of hits. So I guess for you guys who have just been accepted into quick service food and beverage, it is a possibility that you could be doing my role, what I did. So if you're watching this and you've just got accepted for 2014, then well done, and it will be the best summer of your life. So ODF is outdoor foods or outdoor vending, and I worked in Magic Kingdom, so I can't really speak for the other parks. Our kind of home base is the garage, or the ODF garage, and that is behind Main Street on the right as you walk down. It is kind of behind the Main Street bakery. And ODF is in charge of the ice cream wagons and the popcorn wagons around the park. So if you see any of the popcorn little stands or the ice cream little stands, then that's us. The stuff like the churros and the pretzels, they're not done by ODF. They are done by Sands East, Sands West, Stands West, something along them lines, but they're nothing to do with us. And now you will be required to work around all the different lands, so you will have lots of costumes. I had 5 costumes which I could possibly get, and that was including a universal mobile vending costume, which normal vendors won't wear. And there's also a stocking costume for the stockers. The roles you could be trained in an ODF, there's the basic vending role where they work on the popcorn wagons and the ice cream wagons, and then there's also mobile vendors, which I'll talk about a little bit later, as I was a mobile vendor, and then also stocking. It's unlikely you'll get trained in any of these for the first month. Some people don't get trained in any of the others at all, but me and one of the other ICPs, Rachel, we did get trained in mobile vending. A typical work day for an ODF vendor is you clock on, go to the garage and clock on by using the CDS system. So you type in your username and press clock in, then you'd press get assignment on the thing, then your assignment would be printed out, you go and take it to the coordinator, who has their own little computer stand to check that that's okay. It might say something like take over popcorn 1 or take over vendor position 1, I think it was. I can't actually remember the terminology they used for like the tills, so like till 1 and till 2. So let's just say, for example, take over vendor 1 position, popcorn 2. So then when the coordinator agrees it, then you'd go out to the till 1 or vendor position 1 at popcorn 2, and it'll also say on the little printout that you've got what that current person on there does. So it might say, George bump out, which means it's time for home, or George go on 15-minute break until such a time. And you do get walk time as well, as if you are in West Side, then you could be walking all the way over the other side of the park through the tunnels underneath. One thing you don't do is you don't cross through lands with your different costumes on. That's a big no-no, apart from if you're a stocker or a mobile vendor or like a coordinator. Basically, if you've got a universal costume. And when you actually get to your wagon, you'll clock into the till, and your guests will be like, come up, like, can I have some popcorn? So you'll do the transaction, you'll scoop the popcorn for them. You've also got to multitask, making sure you've got enough drinks and making sure you've got enough popcorn. So you do make the popcorn there. You'll put in the kernels and the butter and the oil thing, or however it's made, and then you'll switch it on, and then you've got to keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't burn. What else do you do? There's 2 different types of popcorns. Well, no, there were 3 actually when I was there. There's the regular popcorn, which is $3.50. There's the souvenir bucket, which is $5.75 maybe, I can't remember, it might be that. And then you can sometimes get like the Dumbo buckets, which is basically a regular popcorn shoved in a Dumbo or a little plastic Dumbo. They try not to keep you on stage for longer than 2-3 hours, but gotta be honest, they can sometimes forget about you. I was once left out there for 5 hours and I had to keep radioing them to be like, can I have my break yet, please? They always make sure you have water as well. You are allowed to use the water at the stands. They have like bottled drinks, and you are allowed to spoil one of the waters and put the wrapper in the spoils bin. A spoils bin is like if something breaks or If an ice cream falls off its stick in the packet or something, then that's classed as spoils. You're supposed to radio the manager and say that you're going to spoil the water, but I've got to be honest, not many people did that. I didn't. I just used to take it and put it in the spoils bin. Then when the managers and coordinators come around, they check it and log what's been spoiled. You do have radios when you're at each stand, so each stand, the main person, so the person on till 1 will have a radio, and then announcements come over the radio. So for example, lightning within 5 miles will be called 101, so someone will, or the manager will come on the radio and be like, attention all vendors, we are now 101, please close your stands and go to your main locations. So what we'd have to do then is close down the stand, and no one's allowed to serve 101 because it's dangerous because of the lightning, so we have to go to our main locations and basically stand there. The people who will be in charge of you will be the coordinators, so there's a coordinator assigned to each of the lands, as well as a coordinator too, which is just overseeing everyone, and they like rotate between themselves through different things. One thing I didn't anticipate when doing this is the cleaning and restocking of the drinks wagons. So at the end of the night, if you're closing a popcorn wagon, you will be expected to go back and clean it, and that does take quite a while when you're not used to it. It took me like 2 hours on my first night doing it on my own, and I was like so upset about it 'cause it was just a pain in the bottom. So just radio the coordinators and just tell them you need help, and they will come and help you. Also, you have to restock your drinks wagons, so each drinks wagon from each stand, ice cream and popcorn, they come back to the garage at the end of the night. The person closing that stand, or you do get help from people who only finish later, but there's still drinks wagons to do, so the coordinators tell them to stay and do drinks wagons with and help people. So you've got to completely unload it. You note down on the sheet how many returns that you've got, and then the inventory will refill you so it's filled up to the top, ready for the next day. It does sound like a lot of information, and at first it was a bit daunting, but it is real. I think working ODF, the best place to get is Magic Kingdom. We do work longer hours, it is a lot busier, but once like 9 o'clock hits, they do have busy periods, but we get paid to watch the parades, we get paid to watch Celebrate the Magic, we get paid to watch Wishes. My favourite place to be was definitely on Main Street at Popcorn 2, or MSB, which is Main Street Beverage. Popcorn 2 is the one as you face the castle, it's on the right, MSB is on the left. That's the only outdoor food stand which does fountain drinks. But anyway, once it became time for the parade and time for Wishes, you didn't get any customers, so you'd stand there and get paid to watch the fireworks. I mean, that's like, who could say no to that, really? Out of all of the British ICPs that went out last year, I know of 2 others, apart from me, who did ODF in Magic Kingdom, but I'm sure there were a few more. I just never met them or never worked with them. The work hours for ODF are quite varied, but I do say now you will work long shifts sometimes. Sometimes you won't, sometimes you will. You'll get a lot of money at the end of it, and it might seem a bit daunting, and don't get worried about it. I was seriously worried about it when I first went out there, and when I found out that was definitely ODF. I was worried about the hours, I was worried about the heat, I was worried about being out under the elements, but it is nothing to worry about. The first week it will be tough, maybe even the first 2 weeks will be tough. It was for me. I was upset quite a bit of the time. It was stressful, I worked a lot, I wasn't used to it. I think I worked like 50 hours each week for the first 2 weeks, and it was tough, but you do get used to it. I worked between 43 and 47 hours, I reckon, a week, and it's not that bad, seriously, when you get into it. For mobile vending, I did work less hours, but they were more awkward times of the day, so I couldn't really do anything beforehand, whereas a lot of the time with normal ODF hours, I could go and do something beforehand, because I'd start at like 3 or something, so I could go into Magic Kingdom before. Now, mobile vending, I got trained for mobile vending probably about beginning of July time. Mobile vending is basically you push a little movable motor cart around, either serving drinks or ice creams or frozen lemonade. You do carry your money with you in your pouch. It's not that difficult doing the maths, so if you're not good at maths, don't worry about it. The great thing about mobile vending is you can literally just do anything you want. It's very open, very free. So you'll start at 1:30. The hours are always the same during the summer. This is an example of my schedule. Let me find it. There we go. That's an example of my schedule. I have posted a copy of this on my blog, I think. Yeah, I think I have put a copy of this on my blog. Sometimes you will get swapped to other locations, so sometimes I'll be swapped on the day to Main Street or West Side, which is okay, you don't have to go change your costume because you're in a universal costume. You can literally walk anywhere you want. At 1:30 when you start, you'd go into the garage, find out what you're going to be vending, you'd put all your stuff or get all your stock together, then you'd just go out, you'd do the parade routes, that's the point of it. So before the 3 o'clock parade, we'd walk in front of the parade and then serve people. The first few times is quite stressful because the parade's behind you and you can't stop if it gets too close, but it's one of the only times in Disney you can be a little bit rude to people if you don't have time, or if the parade's right behind you and you're serving someone and they give you $100 bill, you can refuse it, or you can be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't accept that, I've got to go, like the parade's up my bum. What I'd usually do then is I'd hang around Adventureland for a little bit. I'd walk over to Tinkerbell's Nook and chill out under the shade there. Then sometimes I'd go back onto the Castle Hub and I'd watch the Castle Show, and I'd just stand there and just watch the Castle Show like every day. Usually I'd take my break around 5 o'clock because with mobile vendors you can choose when you have your break. So I'd get my breaks combined into an hour, is it an hour or an hour and 15 minutes? I got my breaks combined anyway, and I'd usually take it around 5 o'clock. Then by the time I come back at 6 o'clock, I'd restock my cart, make sure I've got everything, then go back out, vend up and down Main Street, and then walk the ELP route. So ELP behind you, chilling along. And for that, it's a lot more, because it's dark, it is a bit more stressful, because as soon as the lights go out, you're kind of like, oh no, the parade's coming. And as soon as you hear that music going doo-doo-doo, you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to get caught by the parade, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get sent home. Well, that was like the first 2 times anyway, but you do get used to it and it's really fun. After that, you'd go backstage at Pirates of the Caribbean, and then you'd walk backstage all the way over to Main Street, then you'd cross over on stage onto Main Street, then back to the garage. Then all you've got to do is unload your stock, count it all, send it back to the inventory, count up all your money, then you're done. That's done for the night. I would say it's easier in a way. I thought it was easier and I enjoyed it more because I just got to have that freedom where I could just go into any land I wanted and I just got to explore Magic Kingdom. As I said before, the hours are, I would say they're not as long. Like sometimes I could get home at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. when I was doing normal vending, but when I was doing parade vending I was always home by like 12 because I finished at 9:45, was it? Let's have a nosy. Yeah, I finished at 10:45, so I was always home by 12 o'clock. And usually you can leave early as well if you finish counting up. So say you get back to the garage around 9:30, 9:30, something to 10. If you do all your stock and your money really quickly, then it's done, you can just go. It is hard at first, but it is amazing. And first I was all like, oh, I didn't get the roles I wanted, why did they get better roles than me, I could have done that role, why am I stuck doing food and all of that. But at the end of the day, how many people can say that they got paid to watch Wishes like nearly every single night? I can't remember if there's anything else that I need to go through. I can go over stocking a little bit I guess, but I don't know too much about stocking. I know CPs do get trained in stocking sometimes, and I know a previous ODF UK cast member got trained in stocking at the end of their programme. But stocking is basically you bring stock to all the carts and you get the orders in and you get sent out basically, so you don't really have much guest interaction. The best thing about being ODF in Magic Kingdom, definitely watching Wishes all the time, getting to watch the shows, getting to watch the parades while getting paid for it. Interacting with the guests, definitely. When someone from the UK saw I was from England, then they'd be like, oh, you're from England! How did you get out here? And I spoke to so many people who were interested in doing this for their children, or so many university students who were like, oh, I'm going to apply for this. And it's the best feeling ever to see someone from the UK and to recognise someone's accent and just be like, oh, where are you from? And then finding out like that they live close to you, and it's pretty cool. An odd thing that happened was I was vending on the hub, which is where the castle is, that little bit. I was vending there, and then next minute I turn around and one of my old flatmates was there from first year, and he was like, "Alright, Jane?" I was just like, this is weird, because I hadn't spoken to him for like a year. That was kind of odd. It is an absolutely brilliant experience, and don't let getting quick service food and beverage put you down, because I know some people can be a bit hesitant about it because it's quick paced, it's hard work, but it is fun and you do have a lot of fun. The people are fun. I met so many people doing ODF because you work with so many, because you go around all the different lands and you're speaking to all these different people, because there's about 300 people who work for ODF in Magic Kingdom anyway, and it was really fun. You also make buddies from the different areas, so there was like a custodial woman that I always used to talk to, and then there's like certain people that you always talk to, like there was a security guard that I always used to watch the castle show with, and you kind of start recognising each other. It was quite funny because near the end of my programme, when I was doing the parade vending, I started speaking to the guy who drives behind the electric light parade, and it just so happened that he was friends with my roommate who did costuming for the ELP. Overall, it's fun. Don't let it dampen your spirits if it's hard work at first. You will get used to it, I promise. If you've got any questions, feel free to message me, tweet me, any of that jazz. I'll leave my information down below, like my email or my Twitter, if you want to find out more. And yeah, just have fun with it and it'll be the best summer ever. It certainly was for me. Bye.